And now we're going to show you one of the, we're going to show you Bill McKibbon. Bill McKibbon started 350.org, and the reason why it's called 350 is that's the maximum amount of carbon dioxide parts per million that scientists, climate scientists say that the world can still function at that level, at 350. Anything above that, and we're in dire straits and we're going to have problems. Guys, we're over 400. The carbon is going up so rapidly, and if it gets to the methane, forget about it. This game's over. You think what happened in the flooding in New York City was bad? You won't even be able to get a bus in New York City, never mind a subway. All right, now this next clip we're going to show you Bill McKibbon on the street, and even he didn't think that the movement would get this big. So John, hit it.
Yeah, we're here with Bill McKibbon. Bill, what do you make of the march so far?
It's just sort of stunning and overwhelming. The front of the march is already all the way over on the west side. The people back up at 86th Street haven't started moving yet. This is way, way more people than we anticipated. This is the largest political gathering about anything in this country in many, many years. And I think it's the moment when just people's frustration is just kind of boiled over. 25 years of doing nothing's 25 years too long.
What makes you think this is any different to other big protests that we've seen in the past few years? You've been arrested outside the White House complaining against fracking. What's the difference?
The biggest difference is it's bigger. I mean, movements need to keep moving. They need to keep growing, and this one is clearly growing exponentially.
And in terms of the meeting on Tuesday, what are your hopes? What kind of tangibles would you like to see delivered?
Nothing's going to happen at the meeting in the UN. I mean, that's just professional wrestling over there. But events like this put a lot of pressure in the system, and sooner or later it starts to move. Okay?
Okay. Guys, so you see what he had to say? You know, he said that this is way bigger than we ever thought. And the other thing that he said at the end was the system has to be changed. And, you know, when he was talking about the what's going to happen tomorrow at the United Nations, he said that's going to be a professional wrestling match, which means they're going to go through the motions and nothing really happens. Guys, when things are starting to change is when the money starts to change hands. Like with Solarized Brookfield and Solarized Connecticut. When we start to take advantage of the free market, and when we start to create trickle-down economics, where the money trickles down from the solar panels, and it trickles down into our checkbooks, and we redistribute the wealth into our own pockets. Let's be honest with each other. You're going to pay for electricity one way or the other. Do you want to pay for it and put that money back into your pocket, or do you want to pay for it and give it to a corporation? You make the decision. And guys, you know, guys like Joe had Solar City come out to his house, and they showed him beyond the shadow of a doubt that he could save money substantially with solar panels. And you know what Joey did? He cut off his nose to spite his face. He would rather give the money to the Koch brothers so that the Koch brothers can spend the money buying the government so that they can eventually end up killing his kids. And I hate to be so vicious, but this is the way it has to be because you guys don't want to wake up. All right, now, the next clip is what really brought Bill McKibbon to his senses, the oil economy, and what happens when we burn fossil fuels. So, John, let's have the next one.
I wrote the first book about climate change way back in 1989 when I was a young man in my 20s. Now I'm in my 50s. So I've spent my life watching our political system try to cope with the biggest challenge humans have ever faced. So far, they've failed. I used to think that was about some failure of human psychology or our love of the status quo or something like that, but I've changed my mind. I think most people, faced with the spreading plague of drought and flood and failed harvest, are ready to take action. The problem is the fossil fuel industry. It's the most profitable enterprise in the history of the earth. Exxon makes more money each year than any company in the history of money. And much of that profit is based on a simple fact. Alone among industries, it doesn't have to clean up after itself. We let coal and gas and oil barons use the atmosphere as an open sewer into which to dump carbon, their main waste product, for free. That's a sweetheart deal. Imagine you own a restaurant, and the city let you shovel your waste into the center of the street each night instead of paying for it to be carted away. You'd make more profit too. But soon the streets would be overrun with toxins and trash. Well, that's what's going on in our atmosphere right now. Every sensible economist has said that we should force the fossil fuel industry to pay for the damage carbon creates. But it hasn't happened because this industry of polluters is able to pervert our democracy with endless campaign contributions and lobbying money. I mean, our politicians should be forced to wear decals on their suits like NASCAR drivers. And here's the thing, we're not the radicals. We want a world a little bit like the one we were born into. Oil companies are the radical ones. They're willing to alter the chemical composition of the atmosphere in order to make more money. They've already run the carbon level in the atmosphere well past the safe line, 350 parts per million. Now they're trying for a world that, it'll jeopardize the future of most living things. Does that seem right to you? So, this is our challenge for the years ahead. If we can break their power, then the planet has a future. I don't know that we can. They are the ones with all the money. So we need to find other currencies, like passion, spirit, creativity. Sometimes we're going to have to put our bodies on the line and get arrested. It's the fight of our time, maybe the fight of all time. And we should all be honored to be a small part of it. Help ensure that our planet is protected for all future generations. Go to 350.org and join the fight today.